You know that feeling when you open your eyes in the middle of the night, roll over, and see the glowing numbers on the clock? It's 3:14 a.m. again. You try closing your eyes, shifting your pillow, pulling the blanket tighter. But your mind just won't settle. You wonder, why this time? Why always this time? If you're an older woman, waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. is more common than you might think. And it's not just about getting older or having a weak bladder. Sometimes your body is trying to tell you something, and the message can be about your health, your emotions, and even your inner spirit. Think about it. The world outside is completely still. No phone buzzing, no traffic noise, no one needing your attention. In those hours, it's just you and the quiet. That quiet can be peaceful, or it can feel like a spotlight on every thought you've been trying to ignore during the day. Here's the surprising part. In traditional Chinese medicine, that 3 to 5 a.m. window is linked to your liver and emotional balance. In modern science, it's tied to your sleep cycles, hormones, and stress response. In other words, this little midnight interruption could be your body's way of nudging you toward balance. The good news? You're not stuck with it. You don't have to just toss and turn, waiting for morning light to creep through your curtains. There are small, gentle things you can do in those moments that can calm your mind, relax your body, and either help you drift back to sleep or wake up feeling refreshed instead of drained. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share 5 simple, safe, and surprisingly effective things you can do the moment you find yourself awake in that early morning window. These aren't complicated, they don't require special equipment, and they work whether you're at home, traveling, or even in a hospital bed. So, if you've been wondering why this keeps happening and what you can do about it, stay with me. By the end, you might just see 3 a.m. in a whole new light. If you've ever woken up at 3:27 a.m. for what feels like the 100th time, you might think, my body must have a personal alarm clock I didn't set. And in a way, you're not entirely wrong. There are a few very real reasons why this happens, especially for older women. And once you know them, it's easier to see that you're not broken. You're just experiencing a change in how your body works. One of the biggest factors is hormonal changes after menopause. As estrogen and progesterone levels drop, your sleep cycle can be affected in ways you never noticed before. These hormones help regulate not only your mood, but also your body temperature and your ability to stay asleep. Without them in their old, steady amounts, you might wake more easily, especially in the early morning hours. Then there's the bladder factor. As we age, our bladder can become more sensitive and less able to hold as much through the night. That means even a small amount of fluid can trigger the urge to go. You may not want to get up at 3 a.m., but your body might be quietly insisting. Anxiety and overthinking can also sneak in during this time. The day is busy, and your mind often pushes worries aside to deal with later. Unfortunately, later often turns out to be the quiet, still hours between 3 and 5 a.m., when there's nothing else to distract you from that long list of what-ifs and I-should-haves. In traditional Chinese medicine, waking during this window is linked to the liver's peak energy time. The liver isn't just for filtering toxins. In this philosophy, it's also tied to processing emotions like anger, frustration, or unresolved stress. So, waking then could be your body's way of telling you it's time to release or heal something inside. And finally, sleep structure changes with age. Deep sleep phases naturally become shorter, and lighter sleep phases become longer. This makes it easier for small noises, changes in temperature, or even a dream to wake you up. Here's the reassuring truth. Waking up at this time isn't automatically dangerous. But if it happens often and you struggle to get back to sleep, it can quietly affect your mood, memory, focus, and even your immune system over time. The good news? There are ways to work with your body in these moments instead of fighting against it. And they can make a world of difference in how rested you feel. The very first thing to remember when you wake between 3 and 5 a.m. is this. Don't let your mind decide it's morning just yet. What happens for most of us is that we wake up, check the clock, sigh, and immediately start thinking about yesterday, tomorrow, or something from years ago that suddenly feels urgent. Before you know it, your heart rate is up, your body thinks it's time to be alert, and sleep slips further away. So instead of reaching for your phone or flipping on the light, try this. Stay where you are and give your mind a simple task. One of the best techniques is called 4-7-8 breathing. Here's how. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath gently for 7 seconds. Then breathe out through your mouth for 8 seconds, making a soft whoosh sound. This slows your heart rate and signals to your nervous system that it's safe to relax. If counting seconds feels stressful, try counting backward from 100 instead. Each time your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the numbers. This gives your brain something repetitive and calming to focus on instead of the worries knocking at the door. I once spoke to Mary, 68, who told me she used to grab her phone the moment she woke up, checking emails, reading the news, scrolling social media. Before I knew it, she said, I was wide awake, anxious, and staring at the ceiling at 4 a.m. When she replaced her phone habit with slow breathing and counting, she noticed that most mornings she drifted back to sleep within 15 minutes. If you feel stiff or achy lying still, you can add gentle in-bed movements. Slowly rotate your ankles, flex and point your toes, or do small shoulder rolls. These help release tension without waking your body too much. The key is to keep everything dim, quiet, and slow. Your goal isn't to force sleep. It's to create the right conditions for it to return naturally. Think of it like coaxing a shy cat to come sit on your lap. You don't chase it, you just make the space inviting until it comes back on its own. One thing many people don't realize is that your body's temperature plays a huge role in how deeply you sleep. In fact, part of the reason we fall asleep in the first place is because our core temperature drops slightly. Your brain actually uses temperature changes as a signal. Cooler now? Okay, it must be time to rest. But here's the tricky part. As we age, our body's ability to regulate temperature at night can change. Hormonal shifts, especially after menopause, can cause hot flashes or night sweats. On the flip side, you may find you get chilly more easily than you used to. Both extremes can wake you up between 3 and 5 a.m. That's why one of the simplest and most effective things you can do is make temperature adjustments easy and gentle, without fully waking yourself. Keep a lightweight blanket folded at the foot of your bed so you can pull it up if you get cold. If you tend to overheat, choose breathable bedding, cotton, linen, or bamboo, so you can quickly kick a layer off without feeling stuffy. If you feel warm in those early hours, try this small trick. Expose your feet. Your feet are full of blood vessels close to the skin, so letting them cool can bring down your overall body temperature fast. Some people even crack open a small window before bed to keep the air fresh and cool. If you get chilled, keep a soft shawl or a wrap within arm's reach. That way you can add a layer without fully sitting up or fumbling in the dark. For those who wake with that slightly clammy feeling from night sweats, don't rush to get up and change clothes unless you have to. Instead, keep a small towel nearby to gently pat your skin dry. Then adjust your blanket layers to prevent overheating again. And here's a soothing bonus. Try warm hand or foot rubs without leaving bed. Rub your palms together briskly until you feel warmth. Then place them gently over your feet, stomach, or chest. It's comforting, relaxing, and can help signal your body to drift back to sleep. Let's be honest, one of the most common reasons older women wake up between 3 and 5 a.m. is the bladder. You might wish you could just ignore it, but that little voice inside says, better not risk it. Here's why it happens more often after 60. As we age, our bladder's capacity can shrink slightly, and the muscles that control it may weaken. On top of that, certain medications, caffeine, and even late evening fluids can increase the urge to go during the night. The good news? A few small habits can make a big difference. First, limit caffeine, not just coffee, but also tea, cola, and even chocolate in the late afternoon and evening. Caffeine is a diuretic, meaning it makes you produce more urine. Second, try a last-chance bathroom trip right before bed, even if you don't feel the urge. Sometimes this alone can buy you a few more hours of uninterrupted sleep. If you do wake up and need to go, keep things as low stimulation as possible. Avoid turning on bright lights. Those can tell your brain it's morning. Instead, use a dim, warm night light or motion-activated light. Move slowly. Avoid checking your phone or the clock, and head right back to bed. Over time, you can even help strengthen your bladder control with gentle pelvic floor exercises. One easy version is to contract the muscles you'd use to stop urine mid-flow. Hold for a count of 5, then relax. Doing this several times a day, not while urinating but at other times, can improve muscle tone and reduce urgency at night. And remember, Hydration is still important. Just front-load your fluids earlier in the day. Drink more in the morning and afternoon, and gradually taper off in the evening. With these changes, you may find those middle-of-the-night bathroom trips become less frequent. And when they do happen, they're less likely to fully wake you up. Here's something surprising. The harder you try to sleep, the more awake you'll feel. It's like when you tell yourself, don't think about a pink elephant. And suddenly, all you can see is a pink elephant. The same thing happens at 3:42 a.m. when you lie there thinking, I need to sleep. I have to sleep. Why can't I sleep? Instead of forcing it, you can trick your brain into relaxing by giving it a soft, calming focus. What I like to call a mind anchor. One simple anchor is peaceful mental imagery. Picture yourself walking through a quiet garden in early spring. You can almost hear the gentle rustle of leaves, smell the faint sweetness of blooming flowers, and feel the cool, soft earth under your feet. Move slowly through the space in your mind, noticing small details, the sound of a bird, the sparkle of dew on the grass. Or imagine yourself rocking in a cozy chair by the fire. The room is dim, the air smells faintly of wood smoke, and the chair creaks gently as you sway back and forth. Let yourself sink into the warmth and the rhythm. Another anchor is sound. Many people find soft, pre-recorded sleep stories, gentle instrumental music, or nature sound helpful. The trick is to keep the volume low, just enough to occupy your mind without fully engaging it. Ocean waves, rain tapping on a window, or distant thunder can all be deeply relaxing. I remember a friend, Linda, who kept waking around 4 a.m. She started playing a short guided relaxation track whenever it happened. She said she could barely remember the middle of the recording because she was asleep again by then. Think of mind anchors as a gentle hand you hold while walking back into sleep. They're not about forcing the door closed. They're about quietly inviting it to swing shut on its own. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, sleep just doesn't come back right away. When that happens, instead of lying there frustrated, you can turn the time into something nourishing, a mini restoration ritual. First, start with gratitude thoughts. Whisper them in your mind, one by one. I'm grateful for my warm bed. I'm grateful my heart is still beating. I'm grateful for the people I love. Gratitude has a way of softening the edges of worry and quieting restless energy. If you're spiritually inclined, a quick prayer or meditation can be especially calming. Focus on breathing in peace and breathing out tension, or repeat a comforting phrase slowly until you feel your body ease. You can also gently stretch without leaving the bed. Wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your wrists and ankles, or slowly stretch your arms overhead. These movements help release tension and increase circulation without waking you fully. Some women find this early time is perfect for light journaling. In dim light, jotting down a dream, a thought, or even a list of things to remember later. It clears the mental clutter and can make it easier to fall asleep afterward. The key is to keep the activity calm and quiet. Avoid bright lights, electronics, or anything that demands intense focus. And here's a helpful guideline. If you can't sleep after about 20 to 30 minutes, it's better to shift to a calm activity than to stew in frustration. Read a few pages of a peaceful book, do a few stretches, or sip a small cup of warm, non-caffeinated tea before returning to bed. By reframing those early morning moments as an opportunity for gentle self-care instead of a battle against sleeplessness, you take away the stress. And stress is often the very thing keeping you awake. While waking between 3 and 5 a.m. can be completely normal, there are times when it's a sign that something deeper needs attention. If you notice your early waking is paired with severe anxiety or sadness that lingers during the day, it could be a symptom of depression or anxiety disorders, both of which can disrupt sleep. Chronic pain that wakes you at the same time each night might point to arthritis, nerve issues, or other underlying conditions that can be treated. If someone has ever told you that you snore loudly or seem to stop breathing during sleep, you could have sleep apnea. This condition not only interrupts rest, but can strain your heart over time. Unexplained night sweats, especially if they're frequent, deserve a check too. These can be caused by hormonal changes, infections, or other medical issues. Your doctor may recommend a sleep study to track your sleep patterns or run hormone level checks to see if imbalances are playing a role. The earlier you catch a problem, the easier it usually is to treat, and the faster you can get back to peaceful, restorative sleep. So, Let's quickly revisit what we covered. If you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., you can calm your mind without getting out of bed, using gentle breathing or counting to guide you back to rest. Soothe your body temperature, adjusting blankets or cooling/warming yourself just enough for comfort. Address bladder and hydration needs with smart evening habits and gentle strengthening exercises. Use gentle mind anchors, relaxing imagery or soft sounds to help you drift back off. Turn it into a mini restoration ritual, gratitude, stretching, or quiet reflection to nourish your mind and body. Remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly or never waking up in the night again. As we age, our sleep patterns naturally shift. What matters is learning to work with your body, not against it, and making small adjustments that help you feel better. Even one small change, like skipping caffeine after lunch or trying a new breathing pattern, can make tonight more restful than last night. So tonight, if you find yourself awake at 3:27 a.m., don't panic. Take a breath, remember these tools, and know you have options. Your nights and mornings can be peaceful again. You've earned the right to deep rest. You deserve sleep as nourishing as your wisdom, as comforting as your favorite blanket, and as steady as the sunrise. And if you have a tip, habit, or little trick that helps you during those early hours, share it in the comments, because your experience might be the exact thing another woman needs to hear tonight.